it is my really distinct honor, our distinct honor, to have the chance to recognize and celebrate Mr. Jonathan Dunn. And he is what I call a unicorn. There are a lot of teachers that do great work every day, but we have a need in our country and our county for more teachers like Mr. Dunn. The teaching workforce is vast majority female, does a great job, 80+%. That's about 8% African American, but 2% African American male. And so that's why I call teachers like Mr. Dunn unicorns, because they have a dramatic impact. Not only is he a great teacher, he's influencing people and being an example for a population that needs to see people that look like them in front of the classroom. And I want to give you a little bit about him, and then I'll turn it over to my colleague, Councilmember Rice, and then we'll read the proclamation, and then you'll be able to say something. So that's just so you know the order. I know teachers like organization. Mr. Dunn was awarded the MCPS Teacher of the Year Award and is now one of the 24 teachers in the running for Maryland Teacher of the Year. So we're going to be pulling for our hometown. Here, when's that, and when do we find that out?
I have no idea.
Do you know? When is that? Do you know? I think it's August or so. So yeah, soon. So we're going to be hoping for that. He's a general choral music teacher at Sherwood High School, educating our students grade 9 through 12 for the past 9 years, and has been with MCPS for 19 years. Mr. Dunn also serves as a restorative justice coach. And if you all have been following our work here at the council, it's part of our work to make sure that when there is harm, when there is conflict, that we restore both the person who was harmed and the person who committed the harm to get the best outcome. And it's a big investment we've made on the council as part of our holistic investments in MCPS. So he's a restorative justice coach at Sherwood, which provides vital support and services to all of our students, helping them resolve conflict productively, safe, and in a respectful manner. MCPS is incredibly lucky to have Mr. Dunn, as all of our students and educators and community are. And I want to thank you for your dedication and your work and all that you'll continue to do. And we hope we get another 19 out of you, okay, because you look pretty young. So let's give Mr. Dunn a big round of applause. And I want to turn it over to my good colleague and friend, the Education Chair, Councilmember Craig Rice.
Well, thank you very much, Councilmember Jawando. And let me just start off by saying we've asked so much of our teachers as of recent. And it is so good to see people who are doing it because they love what they do. And it is very clear that those who love what they do excel beyond what it is that is asked. And so it is no surprise that we have folks like Mr. Dunn, folks who dedicate themselves inside and outside of the classroom. That means so much to so many in our community and says a lot about who they are. As a mentor, as you heard, as a restorative justice coach, an organizer of field trips and extracurricular activities, welcoming to all to participate in his Rock and Revival, ensuring that everyone gets to play a part is just so important. And one of the things, and I'm so happy that Councilmember Navarro joined us, because I remember when Councilmember Navarro was president and decided to create this new committee. It was formerly the Education Committee. And we purposely changed it to the Education and Culture Committee. It is so good to see an arts and humanities teacher be our Montgomery County Teacher of the Year. We see so much in math, so much in science, English, all those kinds of things, and people forget how important the arts are in our community. The arts have saved so many people's lives in our community by reaching them when the typical school day could not. I know he could tell stories because I've heard them. And I will just say that it's refreshing to ensure and enshrine that we acknowledge the great work of our arts and humanities profession. So thank you, Mr. Dunn. I want to close by saying one thing. that's a quote, and it's interesting. My staff does a really good job of getting research on you, Mr. Dunn. Mr. Dunn's own words: having endured life in the classroom during the pandemic and the end result, which continues to profoundly impact our classroom students and families, I want to celebrate the commitment of educators across the region and the country for the amazing work, the difficult work done daily to support our families and our students. While we should do it each and every day, we are taking today as an opportunity to thank Mr. Dunn and all of the great teachers in Montgomery County Public Schools across this state and across this nation for their commitment to education, their dedication, their patience, and resilience through so much, and showing that they care about our kids. Thank you, and congratulations, Mr. Dunn.
Councilmember Navarro, and I often say this is the entire Education and Culture Committee, my favorite committee. Councilmember Navarro.
I know I had to crash the party a little bit here because as the third member of the Education Committee, just very briefly, I really want to say thank you. First, of course, congratulations, but thank you, because there is no doubt that as we experience such a stressful, prolonged period during the throes of the pandemic, which obviously we're not totally done with, I have to say that it is not right for us to try to just continue on as business as usual without acknowledging how difficult, how scary, how stressful, how complicated it was, particularly for our teachers, for our families, for our students. We still hear stories about it. And I am a firm believer in talking things out, because I think this is how we can sort through experiences that have been quite traumatic. And I think we should call it that. It was a traumatic experience. But all of you were extraordinary heroes and sheroes that stepped up and gave everything from your heart while you were trying to keep your own families safe. You did everything in your power to mitigate the impact on these young students who were also fearful and were disoriented by this interruption. And so thank you. Congratulations for leading the charge and being a leader during this time. And again, please let everyone know that we are just so humbled by the dedication and the quality and the love that our MCPS teachers and all of the staff have shown during this pandemic. Congratulations.
I told you we were going to lay it on thick. So now we're going to hear from Mr. Christopher Turk, who's the Director of School Support and Wellbeing at MCPS. Is that you? Yes. I hope I got that right. Okay, good. Come on up. All right.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Good afternoon, esteemed County Council. My name is Christoph Turk, and I am the Team 3 Director of Student Support and Wellbeing with the Office of School Support and Wellbeing in Montgomery County Public Schools. I'm here on behalf of our Superintendent, Dr. McKnight, our Chief of School Support and Wellbeing, Ms. Rochelle Rubin, and our Team 3 Associate Superintendent, Ms. Diane Morris, who each send their warmest regards to the County Council and a hearty congratulations to Mr. Dunn for this important recognition for his remarkable accomplishment as MCPS Teacher of the Year. I would also like to extend my deepest gratitude to the Honorable County Council leaders for prioritizing this space to affirm and celebrate Mr. Dunn's extraordinary service to our Sherwood students, families, and community. His unwavering dedication to the young people of Sherwood High School is a testament to the inspiring power of student-first service and meaningful instruction that can galvanize creativity, innovation, and ingenuity. Mr. Dunn, you are truly a difference maker that has left an indelible footprint on the Sherwood community and our school system at large. I am honored by the opportunity to say a few words about Mr. Dunn and his unyielding commitment to excellence. In my role, I have the exciting experience of working alongside the principals and school leaders throughout the Sherwood cluster. At Sherwood High School, Mr. Britton has embraced Mr. Dunn's leadership and passion for his craft, which centers on the pedagogy of music and the engaging, intentional experiences he engineers both within and outside of his classroom for students to thrive and succeed. Mr. Dunn has a magnetic presence. His energy, expertise, and will are contagious and will leave you inspired to be the best version of yourself. His talent is without boundaries, and he is a vision-driven teacher. I have seen this firsthand when I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Dunn shortly after he was announced as the MCPS Teacher of the Year. We met in Mr. Britton's office and had a rich discussion that ranged from his journey and experiences, his laser-like focus on the classroom learning environment, while also touching on the salient importance of community, relationships, and family. I was in awe of Mr. Dunn's spirit of optimism and his deeply rooted sense of conviction and purpose in his work. He loves teaching young people, but just as memorable was his student-centered approach to nurturing the unique and individual gifts and talents within every child he encounters, and his complete devotion to bringing this to fruition in every space he shares with the students at Sherwood High School. I left the conversation invigorated and inspired, but also deeply grateful that Mr. Dunn is a teacher and leader within our Montgomery County community. So it came as no surprise when a few months later I was sitting on the graduation stage and heard a thunderous applause and electric response among students, parents, families, staff, and community members when Mr. Britton mentioned Mr. Dunn's accomplishment in his remarks. The collective respect, admiration, and joy on display that day is a testament to the powerful relationships Mr. Dunn has developed and the lasting legacy of his service to young people. Mr. Dunn, congratulations once more, and thank you from the bottom of my and our heart for all that you do for our students, families, and community. Please know that our MCPS community is behind you, and we are cheering you on when you go to engage with this process and become the statewide Teacher of the Year. You are appreciated, and you are an inspiration. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was remarkable. And Councilmember Navarro alluded to this, and so did Councilmember Rice. Our teachers have never been more important than they are. They've always been important. But right now, with what we've gone through and as we're working to come back, they've never been more important. So that energy and enthusiasm and attention to individual student need, we're going to need it now more than ever. I'm going to bring you up, Mr. Dunn, but before I do, I'm going to give you another little shout out. A birdie told me that you went to Catholic University for undergrad, which is where I went for undergrad. And I'm assuming you spent some time at Hartkey Theater, which is the great music arts center there at Catholic University. And we have had people sing at this mic before. So there's nothing holding you back, no pressure. But with that, our MCPS Teacher of the Year, one more round of applause for Mr. Jonathan Dunn.
I just want to say I'm so deeply humbled by the honor and the recognition. And as I've said, at every opportunity that's been granted to me, to every MCPS teacher that survived the COVID experience and walked into your school from late August of 2020 all the way in through now, until now, you're Teacher of the Year. And we lose sight of the challenges that our kids have presented and the needs that our families have presented. And I've had very courageous conversations with my own person as I've looked deep within and recognized that before I can teach the content that I'm so deeply passionate about, I'm first charged with the responsibility to show kindness and love and compassion and to live it daily in my interactions with kids. If I don't meet them where they are at that moment, Everything that I have in terms of content, knowledge, expertise means nothing. I need to validate, I need to affirm, I need to encourage, I need to lift up and build up and strengthen the foundation of a kid who is standing before me hurting. The irony of that statement is the fact that as I stand here and celebrate the applause and the recognition that's been bestowed upon me, I'm humbled by the fact that as a 47-year-old man, I remember all of the moments that I've had as a child until now that have impacted and profoundly affected my life. I grew up in Prince George's County Public Schools, and I can tell you that there were experiences being a young African-American student coming through a system that was trying to find its legs as far as, diversity and inclusion, and validating people's, cultural experiences and identities. I left that experience being very wounded, very upset, very hurt. And I still remember all of those negative interactions. And when I entered the classroom with the one hope that I'm doing this because I want to make sure that no child under the hands of my leadership has to experience what I went through as a kid. No one should have to learn or experience what it's like to be called stupid just because you don't understand something. Somebody shouldn't have to walk into a class and feel as if their identity is ignored or viewed as less than simply because you have a tinge of melanin in your skin. We all have value. We all matter. We all mean something. And we were put on this earth to make a difference and to contribute something to the greater humanity that we call the world around us. I'm grateful to MCPS and this group of leaders who's given me an opportunity and a platform to simply walk into a room and be my authentic self. I've been able to walk into a room and share the content that I'm so deeply passionate about, because if it weren't for the gift of music, if it weren't for my piano teacher, Mrs. Edith Pfister, who's gone home to be with the Creator, I don't know where I would be. Because she looked at me and said, you might not be the best mathematician yet. You might not be able to be the best reader yet. But look at your ability to sit down and move people by sitting at an instrument. Look at your ability to master the various concepts that are viewed as challenging for you, and yet you can navigate every time signature that's presented before you. You can do math, you can read, you can process information, and it was through her faith and her putting me in experiences or situations that allowed me to explore it all that I found me. And that is my job as a teacher, to help every kid, regardless of where they are in life, to find themselves and to see themselves in the content that we sing or that we teach, and see themselves as a faithful participant in this whole thing called community. Montgomery County, to you as a council, to you as a community, I thank you for the opportunity to stand as your representative. I'm hopeful that just as the Creator opened up an opportunity for me to speak to you today, that as Maryland State Teacher of the Year, that will be afforded to me as well. Thank you for your support. Thank you for all that you've done to strengthen this man on his journey. I'm eternally grateful. Thank you.
Well, I think we got that pick right. We're going to read this proclamation between the three of us here, and we will then move on. This is a proclamation of the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland. Whereas Montgomery County Public Schools, MCPS, celebrates the high caliber of skill and professionalism of more than 13,000 teachers in 209 schools, 210 shortly. They are inextricably linked and an inextricably important component of our school system's success. And
whereas teachers have profound influences on our young people, playing one of a few key formative roles in a young person's life. Teachers mold worldviews and expand horizons, develop character, and build critical thinking. And
whereas MCPS teachers dedicate themselves professionally and personally to be worthy of their responsibilities. Nearly 87% of our teachers hold a master's degree or equivalent, demonstrating a commitment to lifelong education and expertise in their content areas and their craft as educators. And whereas
many of us here today can name one or more teachers. We just heard who your teacher was. Mine was Mr. Williams, my fourth grade math teacher at Oakview Elementary, who left an indelible mark on us through their guidance, support, nurturing, and
whereas MCPS Teacher of the Year nominees have high expectations for and engage students of all backgrounds and abilities in their classroom. Nominees also contribute to positive school culture and connect with their school's community. Montgomery County nominates recipients for the Maryland Teacher of the Year Award, and
we'll stop our musical chairs. We're doing that for you. Whereas Jonathan M. Dunn has embodied all the qualities of MCPS Teacher of the Year. He enriches Sherwood High School and its music program with his talents and betters the school community through his work, including as a restorative justice lead. Now therefore be it resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland hereby celebrates Jonathan M. Dunn as the Montgomery County Public Schools Teacher of the Year and congratulates him for his impact on our community. Presented on this day, the 12th of July in the year 2022, signed by myself and Craig Rice, our chair, and Councilmember Navarro on behalf of the entire council. Let's give one more big round of applause to Mr. Dunn. And my colleagues, if you want to come down, we'll take a picture, please.